Hello friends, we are going to deal with the poetry of Jayanta Mahapatra. First, we will see the historical and literary context in which Jayanta Mahapatra wrote his poems, see his view on poetry, read his poem A Missing Person as a prelude to two other poems, Indian Summer and Lost, analyze them and then conclude our presentation. When it comes to the historical and literary context of Jayanta Mahapatra, there is something very significant that Jayanta Mahapatra often remembers the Kalinga War of 261, which converted Ashoka to Buddhism to propagate peace in the world. And also have to remember that the family of Jayanta Mahapatra converted to Christianity when his forefathers had to go through this Orissa famine of 1866, when mercy camps were organized by Christian missionaries, and because of this conversion, Jayanta Mahapatra's father was able to give good education to Jayanta Mahapatra. He attended an English missionary school in Orissa, which became a common practice in India. Now, after this 1947, when India became independent, there was a focus on scientific temper and science education. This is also important for us in the context of Jayanta Mahapatra, because he was a student of science, became a professor of physics in a college. Throughout his life he was teaching physics, but he also got into poetry and wrote a number of poems. At that time when Jayanta Mahapatra was growing as a poet, we see the developments on the east and also on the west. In the west, we have Bombay poets like Nizam Ezekiel, Adil Jasawala, Giv Patel, Eunice D'Souza, Arun Kolarkar and Dilip Chitre and many others. And in the east, we have P. Lal and the writers workshop in Calcutta, though it is closer to Orissa, that is Cuttack, in the place where Jayanta Mahapatra lived. We find that the poet Mahapatra led a very lonely life. He led a lonely poetic journey in Cuttack, a small town in Orissa. Mahapatra was born in 1928. He worked as a professor of physics in a college, but then he chose to live as a poet of metaphysics. He started writing short stories in the beginning, then moved on to photography. When he found it expensive, finally he landed in inexpensive poetry at the age of 38. He started publishing his poems in international poetry magazines and slowly received great acclaim over the years. Initially he was neglected in India, but with the first Sahitya Academy Award for Poetry in English for his volume Relationship in 1981, he began to get recognition as a serious poet in India and abroad. He has 16 volumes of poetry. We have just mentioned a few here: Close the Sky, 10 by 10, Suyamvaram and other poems, A Reign of Rights, Life Science. Some of the poems which are popular are Indian Summer, Lost, Grandfather, Hunger, Steps in the Dark, A Reign of Rights. What is poetry according to Jayanta Mahapatra? He has a statement in one of his essays, Poetry as Freedom, The Door, published in our Sahitya Academy journal Indian Literature in 1992. For him, poetry is a stranger within oneself. What a wonderful definition of poetry. Poetry is a stranger within oneself. Poetry is a stranger within oneself. The man inside one is unaware of, and the poet is almost always in the quest of finding this other one. Therefore, his questions: who am I? Where have I come from and where is it I am going? How should I live? How can I see that whom I had not seen before clearly? Where are you, other one? Have I no right to my death? These are fundamental questions that most people ask in their life. As a poet, he has raised these questions and he has tried to find answers to these questions in his poems. The first poem we have for reading is A Missing Person. It is a very short poem. In the darkened room, a woman cannot find her reflection in the mirror, waiting as usual at the edge of sleep. In her hands she holds the oil lamp whose drunken yellow flames know where her lonely body hides. It's a small poem about a lady in a dark place with an oil lamp. She is almost hidden in that light of the lamp. Only the lamp knows. That's why the lady is a missing person. Perhaps it may be understood that most of us are lost in this way. We are all missing persons. We may also remember Adil Jaswala's poem called Missing Person. He has actually a volume, and in almost all of Jayanta Mahapatra's poems we will find that kind of quest for the person who is lost. Now let us see Indian summer in detail. This is again a short poem. Over the soughing of the sombre wind, priests chant louder than ever. The mouth of India opens. Crocodiles move into deeper waters. Mornings of heated maidens smoke under the sun. The good wife lies in my bed through the long afternoon, dreaming still, unexhausted by the deep roar of funeral pyres. This short poem on Indian summer has many thematic contrasts which are at the center of any poetic endeavor. We start with mourn. This also can include mourn, that is why we have put that word in brackets. Mourn and chant, man and God, surface and depth, sun and smoke, wife and husband, sexuality and spirituality, light and dark, life, love and death, dream and reality. How is that such a short poem has so many contrasts between various central issues of human beings? The poem begins with the movement of the wind and the chanting of mantras or songs for gods. The mouth of India opens, and many other activities happen during this summer, and these are all described. We will see some more details in the next slide. When we come to the poetic devices, we can notice the nuances which make up this poem. We have a transferred epithet in the first line, over the soughing of the sombre wind. Sombre means sad, gloomy. The wind is not exactly gloomy, it is the poet's perception, or it is a speaker's perception of the morning. Alliteration we have in the first line, soughing of the sombre wind, sough, sombre. Then we have allusion, metaphor, pun in just this small phrase, the mouth of India opens. Does this mouth of India refer to Krishna's mouth opening to Arjuna, or does it refer to the mouth of Indian people, the hungry people? We have this allusion and metaphor. Because of this double or multiple reference, we have this pun, mouth of Krishna, mouth of common people, or mouth of the whole geography of India to the sunrise in the morning. That is how the poem becomes very rich. We have alliteration in mornings of heated maidens. Again another alliteration in smoke under the sun. Assonance we have in these two lines put together, the good wife lies in my bed, lies my wife, the same sound I is found in all these three cases. And then we have a metaphor in unexhausted by the deep roar of funeral pyres. In the morning we have the chanting of prayers for gods. At the same time we have pyres, funeral pyres, roaring of fires. That is how we see sunrise, and then in the evening we have funeral fires. We have sunrise in the morning and then funeral pyres in the evening. Light, life, love, life, and then death in the evening. This is a kind of image that Mahapatra builds up throughout the poem. Then we have consonants in roar of funeral pyres. The first are actually could be alliteration, but the other R's are in the middle or in the end. Then lastly we have another allusion, that is allusion to Sati in by the deep roar of funeral pyres. Some critics have observed that the bodies of women burning in the funeral pyres may refer to the good wife, the practice of the Sati in good olden days. Let us see the rhyme, rhythm and meter in this poem. This is a poem in free verse, so we do not have complete rhyme scheme in this. We have of course some partial rhymes in opens, middens, waters and pyres, and the rhythm of this poem is conversational speech pattern, and the meter is irregular, we can at best say polymetrical, because it has iamb, trochee, spondee and variations in line length. We also have caesura, enjambment and end stop lines. We can see all of them in the extract that we have. The good wife lies in my bed through the long afternoon, dreaming still unexhausted by the deep roar of funeral pyres. So we have 1 foot plus, that is one syllable is extra in the first line, 2 feet in the second line, 3 feet in the third line, 3 plus 1 extra is there, 3 plus feet in the third line, and then in the fourth line we have 5 feet by the deep roar of funeral pyres. So we have actually pentameter here. We have mentioned the names of these various rhythmic patterns, iamb, trochee, spondee, and given the examples for you so that you can understand. Iamb, which means unstressed stressed, trochee which means stressed and unstressed, and spondee means both words are stressed. Now let us see the overall impression of this poem. This poem is a descriptive poem of an Indian summer which is oppressive for devotees, crocodiles, householders and everybody else. It is a general climate. The morning brings a sad wind moaning while the priests chant loudly to wake up gods and the whole country. The shore sojourned crocodiles move into the deep waters to escape from the hot sun and also the smoke from the middens. The good housewife rests on the speaker's bed in the afternoon thinking of the burning dead bodies in the ghat, that is the burning ghat. The speaker's view of the early morning is gloomy to say the least, perhaps suggesting that the starving people do not have much hope to fill their stomach. Even other people may not have much scope to live or hope to live on this earth. The Indian summer is then the poverty stricken oppressive India with which Jayanta Mahapatra was very familiar from the view of the speaker and the poet. The unrhymed verse, disjointed rhythm and irregular meter in this poem reveal the inequalities in the Indian society. Let us move on to the second poem we have for discussion. This is called Lost. Here I have learned to recognize you at a distance, the evening heavy, the half light wandering round the room. I have wanted to know what lulling silence can bloom in my hands, what pain and pleasure your mind can wear through the intrigues at my fingertips. I watch your body ease of the season stretched out on the stone of my breath, going nowhere. My hands move on. Inside the lines on my moving palms, is it time being sent back to somewhere far behind on the edge of dream? Is it that which quietly shuts my eyes? And outside my hands where your body keeps shrinking in space, the first fate of some child goes wrong like some defect in a mechanical toy. Yet what does it lead to? To what fateful encounter? Like a misplaced watch, this half light, where was I when I lost it? This is a kind of quest for something lost that Mahapatra wants to find out. Let us see the thematic contrast now between lost and found, maybe temporarily found but lost very often, evening and morning, half light and half dark, silence and speech, pain and pleasure. These two words are brought together in this poem So, we do not have difficulty in finding the contrast. These two words are brought together in the same line. Body and spirit, dream and reality, space and time, which is represented by the watch, misplaced watch at the end of the poem. Faith and doubt, faithful and happy, love and death. This poem has quite a few poetic devices. We can see something like a personification in this line, the half light wandering round the room, the light wandering like a person without any kind of destination, just wandering around. We have metaphors in these 4 lines. What lulling silence can bloom in my hands, bloom like a flower? What pain and pleasure your mind can wear through the intrigues at my fingertips? So, this bloom and wear can metaphorically refer to some strange feelings of silence and speech or disturbed mind that the poet has. We have a metaphor in stretched out on the stone of my breath. Breath is abstract, but we have stone which is solid, concrete. So, life which is evanescent, short, the poet is able to or attempts to capture it as a strong rock or stone. We have rhetorical questions, we have many more, but we have listed only 2 here. Is it time being sent back to somewhere far behind on the edge of dream? Is it that which quietly shuts my eyes? When the poet asks so many questions like this without answers, certainly we can find a quester. He wants to know more and more. Why is his silence? Why is his life? Why is his suffering? Why is his death, misery, poverty in himself and the people around him? We have a metaphor in the first faith of some child goes wrong, and similes in the next 2 lines, like some defect in a mechanical toy and like a misplaced watch, this half light. This half light, watch time, some vision, some kind of person. So, what is this? What is it lost? Imagination or poem or the muse, or the muse that comes through the form of a lady, and it is considered to be a poem dealing with love, and love for a lady or love for poem, love for human beings, love for Mahapatra himself, love for creativity. It is a beautiful poem with so many possibilities. Let us see the rhyme, rhythm and meter. This is also a free verse, and so it does not have any rhyme at all. We have the conversational rhythm in this poem with lot of introspection. That is why we have put it introspective tone or atmosphere. In the case of meter, we find that line length varies from 3 syllables to 13 syllables, so we can call it irregular meter. And then we have enjambment and end stop lines in this extract. Here I have learned to recognize you at a distance, the evening heavy, the half light wandering round the room. Silence and speech, evening and morning, life, death. Jayanta Mahapatra believes in some kind of threshold. He is caught between the two, and he captures the pull or the conflict between the life that he knows and the death he does not know, the life that he understands and the death he does not understand. Let us see the overall impression of this poem. This is a lyrical poem of last half light. That is what we find at the beginning and also at the end. Last half light, where is it? Where was I when I lost it? He asks the question at the end. This is a lyrical poem of last half light, love, imagination, focusing on the talent of lovers, poets to recognize their love poem even at a distance. It is a speaker's voice about the physical intimacy of the lover and beloved, which is a strange exploration of the psychological depths of pleasure and pain and what they can do to the mind and body of both participants, especially the speaker. The physical body of the beloved is lost in space, which is a shock similar to what a child would feel when something goes wrong in a mechanical toy. Words like my hands, my eyes, my fingertips and your body, your eyes betray the sexual mystical aspect of the love which finally leads to the fateful encounter, perhaps with death. Metaphors, similes and rhetorical questions add to the subtlety of the pathetic sense of loss in the poem. When I started writing poetry, I had a chance to read one of the essays of Jayanta Mahapatra in a magazine called Span. After reading that essay of his experience in the United States, I wrote this poem on communion, and so I dedicated this poem for Mahapatra. Just I wanted to share this with you, how he could influence me, and he has influenced many other poets in India and abroad. When you walk through the city streets, you are bound to feel a shudder in your trails, as if you have bumped into a snake that has stretched along to block your way. When you walk through the thick forest, you are bound to feel a shudder all over you. Even if several snakes slide along, you are elevated to the company of joy. When you know where the difference is between the absent and present snakes, you come face to face with a mystery which you can swim through but not state. When you arrive at the pool of silence where no thoughts intrude into your being, you are one with the spirits of the universe, of the past and future of all corners of the world. I wrote this poem and published this in my second volume called Purpose of Life. To give you a summary of our discussion on Jayanta Mahapatra's poems that we have discussed, let us recall. We have looked into the historical and literary context in which Jayanta Mahapatra wrote his poems. He remembers two historical incidents, one the Kalinga War and the other the famine in 1866, which affected, both these incidents affected the whole land. And he grew up in a Christian family with good education, became a professor of physics and started writing poems at a late stage. He has his own questions about what is poetry. He says his poetry is a poetry of suggestion, not a poetry of statement, as we can see in Nizim Ezekiel and other poets. We saw three poems, one we read, A Missing Person, two we discussed, Indian Summer and Lost. And in the two poems that we have discussed, we find the unique qualities of Jayanta Mahapatra dealing with the famous or most important questions of life. What am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Where am I going to? These are questions all of us ask, but some poets like Jayanta Mahapatra try to give some answers. We analyze them and gave our overall impressions. And then we have one more quotation here from Jayanta Mahapatra. He has an essay called Mystery as Mantra, Letters from Orissa, published in World Literature Today in 1994. This also tells us about a central problem in Jayanta Mahapatra. He says, one must try somehow to reach the border between things understandable and ununderstandable. Things understandable and ununderstandable in a poem, between life and death, between a straight line and a circle. Life is like that, it is not a straight line, it is not a circle, it is a mix of the two, and what is that in between we have to understand. Let us see some references now. Hope you will be able to get some of them, at least the ones published in Indian literature. Certainly all of us can access through our JSTOR database. Hope you will be able to read them and appreciate more of Jayanta Mahapatra's poems. Thank you.